All right, let's bring in Jimmy P., columnist at the American Enterprise Institute, and Peter Schiff, CEO at Euro Pacific Capital. You know, Jimmy, we're showing video of the post office, right? And maybe that's just one location, okay? Boxes everywhere, sort of people moving around. So you go to FedEx or UPS. Man, it is streamlined. There you go. It looks a little bit better here. Right. What should we do with the post office? Privatize them?
Well, listen, I think that really needs to be the end game. The bill going through Congress, or which did go through Congress, now they have to come up with a new bill. That was never going to do it. The post office doesn't need more like cost cutting. What it needs is innovation. It needs to be exposed to competition. Listen, we're really behind the times. There are plenty of other countries where the Postal Service does not have a monopoly or has been privatized, and it works just fine. That's where we should go.
Do you think, I mean, Peter, that eventually they're going to be allowed to make the cuts that they need to make and they have to make and they want to make?
Well, who knows what they're going to do, but I think what it shows you is that it's very good politics when our leaders talk about reducing the deficit in the abstract. But they can't even make the small cuts. I mean, these are trivial budget cuts in the post office. They can't even make them. And if they can't do this, how are they going to agree to the more substantive cuts that we have to have in other programs?
They're allergic to cutting, right?
Well, you know, and it's also funny that the post office is a victim of the propaganda of the CPI. You see, they're only allowed to raise the price of a stamp based on the CPI. But because the Federal Reserve is creating all this inflation to monetize all these debts, the cost of delivering the mail is going through the roof, but they're prohibited by law from raising their prices. So the only thing they can do is cut costs, and the government won't let them.
Well, listen, Peter's completely wrong about the CPI, but as far as the Postal Service goes, what we need to do is inject this sort of innovation. Listen, we're not just going to cut. That's not going to work. We need to bring in new business models. We need to end the monopoly. We need to end the monopoly on your mailbox. Let other people deliver to your mailbox.
Is that going to happen? I mean, is that Jimmy, is that even on the table? Is that a possibility that could realistically happen, or is this just your wish list?
Listen, it should. Listen, before the government, you know, we trust the government to like restructure Social Security and Medicare. How about a little proof of concept that they can restructure something, you know, in a positive way? Is that on the chart? No, because right now they're talking about rearranging deck chairs, base closing commissions, postal office closing commissions. That's not going to.
Peter, isn't that the irony between the FHA and the post office? You're looking at $30 billion of debt and a bailout this year alone. We're going to raise $60 billion for the new tax hikes. So you got the president saying we got to raise taxes on the rich to build roads and to better our schools. Half the money's gone already to bailing out just 2 federal government agencies. Isn't that the sad irony?
And it's worse than you think, because the post office has also got some accounting tricks going on. They've been selling these forever stamps. A lot of people have been buying them because you can use them at any time, no matter how much a postage it costs to mail a letter. So the post office is collecting all this money for mail that hasn't even delivered yet. Eventually, when they're allowed to raise the price of a stamp, people are going to use the forever stamps, and then the post office is going to have to deliver all this mail, but they're not going to get paid anything because they already spent the money.
It's a very sad state of affairs. Jim, Peter, always good to have you on our show.